I never expected a quiet Saturday evening to turn into one of the most shocking nights of my life. I had just finished running errands and was pulling into the driveway when I noticed a figure standing near the car. At first, I assumed it was a delivery person or maybe a neighbor. But as I approached, my heart skipped a beat. It was Alex, my daughter's boyfriend. He looked unusually nervous, shifting from foot to foot, glancing at his phone and then back at me. Normally, he was charming, confident, and never shy around adults, especially not me. But tonight, something was different. "Hi, Alex," I said cautiously, trying to mask my curiosity. "Hi, Mrs. Johnson," he replied, voice tight. I needed to talk to you." My mind immediately raced. Why would he need to talk to me alone? My daughter, Emma, was upstairs finishing her homework. This sudden private conversation felt off. I gestured for him to follow me into the living room. He sat down, hands clasped tightly, eyes never leaving the floor. I sat across from him, unsure of how to start. "You're nervous," I said gently. "Whatever it is, you can tell me." Alex swallowed hard. "I know this might sound strange, but I wanted to apologize." "Apologize?" I echoed, confused. "For what?" He hesitated, then finally looked up. His eyes were filled with an intensity one hadn't seen before. "For not telling you sooner about Emma and me." I frowned. "About what?" "You've been dating my daughter for 6 months." "I know." He shook his head. "Not like this. I mean, there's more." I didn't know how to say it. My pulse quickened. What could he possibly have to tell me that was so serious he had to wait outside and speak to me alone? Alex took a deep breath. I'm planning to move abroad. For college. For 2 years. And I wanted to ask if you would allow me to take Emma with me during the summer break. I blinked, stunned. My daughter, my little girl, suddenly being whisked away across the globe by her boyfriend? It felt like the ground had shifted beneath me. "You want to take Emma?" I asked slowly. "Abroad?" "Yes, if you agree," he said, his hands trembling slightly. "I know it's sudden. I know it's a lot to ask. But I couldn't let her go without speaking to you first. She means everything to me." I leaned back, trying to steady my thoughts. On one hand, Alex had always been a responsible, polite young man. On the other hand, this was my daughter. And this was huge. "I don't know, Alex," I said honestly. "I can't just say yes to something like this without thinking it through. You're asking for a lot of trust." He nodded solemnly. "I understand. That's why I came tonight, to ask you first. I didn't want to surprise you or Emma. I couldn't wait any longer." The sincerity in his eyes was undeniable. I could see that he truly cared for my daughter. But the thought of her leaving with him, my heart ached just imagining it. "Let me think about it," I said finally, my voice trembling slightly. "This isn't a small decision, Alex. And I need to speak with Emma as well." "Of course," he said, relief washing over his face. I needed you to know my intentions. That I respect you. That I respect her. I promise nothing will happen without your consent." I nodded, still feeling a swirl of emotions, pride, fear, and a strange sense of admiration for this young man who had the courage to stand there and face me honestly. After a few more moments of quiet conversation, I invited him to wait for Emma. I had to see how she felt before making any decisions. He thanked me, his nervousness slowly replaced with a tentative hope. As he sat in the living room, I couldn't help but watch him. There was something in his determination, his respect, that made me realize he wasn't just a fleeting romance. He genuinely cared for my daughter. And perhaps he deserved a chance to prove himself. But I also knew this decision wasn't just about trust. It was about letting go even a little. And that, I realized, was going to be the hardest part of all. When Emma finally came down the stairs, laughing at something on her phone, she froze when she saw him sitting there. "Alex," she asked, a mix of surprise and concern in her voice. He stood, straightened his shirt, and smiled nervously. "Hey, we need to talk. Together." I stayed silent, letting them have their moment. As I watched them, I realized that tonight would change everything. And somehow, deep down, I felt that I was about to witness something I could never have imagined. Emma hesitated for a moment, glancing between me and Alex. Her eyes widened with surprise, but there was also a spark of excitement that I hadn't seen before. "Mom, he wants me to go abroad for the summer," she said softly, almost whispering. I took a deep breath. "I know, sweetheart. He asked me first. But this is a big decision. It's not just about going on a trip. It's about trust, responsibility, and letting go a little." Alex stepped forward, looking directly at Emma. I promise I'll take care of you. I wouldn't ask if I didn't mean it. This isn't just about the trip. It's about making memories together, experiencing life, and keeping our promises." Emma smiled nervously, her hands twisting the hem of her shirt. I've never been out of the country alone before. It sounds amazing, but scary. I sat down beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "It is scary. That's why you need to think carefully. But I can see he truly cares about you. And that's important." They exchanged a look, full of unspoken understanding. Alex's sincerity was undeniable. He wasn't just a teenage crush or a fleeting infatuation. He genuinely cared for her, and she for him. "Mom," Emma said finally, "I think I want to do it. I trust him, and I want to experience this." I felt a mixture of pride and apprehension. My little girl was growing up, making her own decisions, and stepping into a world I couldn't fully control. It was both terrifying and exhilarating. "All right," I said slowly, "then we'll do it. But there are conditions. You'll check in every day, follow all the rules, and promise me you'll stay safe." Alex nodded eagerly. "Absolutely. I swear." Emma grinned, a combination of relief and excitement on her face. "Thank you, Mom." We spent the next hour planning. Alex outlined his itinerary, the places they would visit, and the safety precautions he would take. I listened intently, asking questions and making sure every detail was accounted for. By the end of the conversation, I felt a sense of cautious optimism. When the day of departure finally arrived, I drove them to the airport. Emma clutched my hand tightly, and Alex held her other hand firmly, both of them smiling nervously. "Remember," I said, looking at them both, "this is an adventure, but your safety comes first. Call me every day, and don't take unnecessary risks." "We promise," Emma said, leaning in to hug me. Alex wrapped an arm around her shoulder. As they walked toward the gate, I felt a lump in my throat. Watching my daughter take this step into independence was harder than I had anticipated. But seeing her happy, excited, and ready to embrace life filled me with pride. Hours later, as I returned home, my phone buzzed. It was a photo from Alex, Emma standing in front of a famous landmark abroad, smiling brightly. I smiled, tears threatening to spill. They were safe. They were happy. And most importantly, they had each other. Over the following weeks, Alex and Emma's messages came regularly. He shared their experiences, small adventures, and the little challenges they overcame together. Each message reassured me that this wasn't a reckless decision, but a carefully thought-out experience that would help Emma grow. By the end of the summer, when they returned, I realized that trust had strengthened, not weakened. Emma had matured, Alex had proven his responsibility, and our bond as a family had deepened. That evening, as we all sat around the dinner table, Emma recounted their favorite moments. Alex listened, smiling, occasionally adding his own humorous touches. I looked at them, grateful that a moment that had once seemed shocking and terrifying had turned into a transformative, joyful experience. I realized then that life often surprises us in ways we can't predict. Courage, honesty, and trust can lead to experiences far beyond our expectations. And sometimes letting go, even a little, is the greatest gift we can give to those we love. As I tucked Emma into bed that night, I whispered, "I'm proud of you, sweetheart. You faced your fears and embraced life." She smiled sleepily. "Thanks, Mom. I couldn't have done it without you, and Alex." And I knew, in that moment, that love, in all its forms, romantic, familial, and protective, had guided us through an unforgettable summer. a summer none of us would ever forget.